I've been thinking about how to say goodbye to Destiny, but also do it in my in-depth, unnecessary amount of math style. I thought about what is the last project I could do that ties all of Destiny together. Weekly rituals were my main focus when coming up with this idea. I wanted to take something that we all did week after week for the last 3 years and look at the numbers behind it. And I realized that at the time of writing this script and recording this video, Xur is in the tower for the last time in Destiny 1's life cycle. Sure, he'll be there next weekend, but almost all of us won't even think about whether he's in the tower or the reef, but instead we'll be wondering if he exists in Destiny 2 and where he might be. And Destiny 1 Xur won't even cross our minds. So I thought this would be a fantastic thing to look at the numbers of, and a good way to say goodbye to Destiny 1 projects and welcome Destiny 2 projects onto my channel. I also wanted to take a look at the history of Xur, how his inventory has changed over the last 3 years, and how many times good old Xur decided he wasn't going to abide by the normal rules. So let's jump back to week 1, way back on September 12th, 2014, the day many of us were introduced to Xur. The day we realized that strange coins were a thing, and at the time how sparse they were. This was the day we were introduced to Exotic and made us all start what became a weekly ritual, where we'd rush to the tower every Friday to find out what good old Tentacle Phase had to offer. Shortly after that, week 2 on September 19th, 2014, this was the day many of us either made the correct decision or didn't want to waste our Exotic slot on a heavy. This was the week of the infamous Gjallarhorn. From here, if week 1 and week 2 didn't start our weekly ritual, after either purchasing the Gjallarhorn or making the wrong decision, many of us made a weekly tower visit a regular thing. From here, we jump forward 11 weeks to week 13, where Xur brought a new item known as an Exotic Shard. This was also the Xur that was meant to prepare us for the changes that were to come with Destiny's first DLC, The Dark Below. The following week, on December 12th, 2014, Xur's inventory had an overhaul for the first time, bringing what were known as upgrades, a way for us to upgrade previously owned exotics to the new power levels that came with the launch of The Dark Below just a few days prior. We're now going to take a pretty large jump forward in time to week 37 on May 22nd, 2015. Xur's inventory had once again been revamped with the removal of upgrades and the additional material exchange. This was due to the launch of Destiny's second DLC, The House of Wolves. We once again jump forward to week 45 on July 17th, 2015. This was the first time Xur ever made a mistake. Xur, for the first time in nearly a year, had forgot to bring a weapon. Many people, including myself, speculated on this, and to this day, many of us believed that the Gjallarhorn was supposed to make its return after a 43-week hiatus. But we believe that Bungie at some point in the past had removed it from the loot table, causing Xur to not have a weapon that week. However, we will never know if that was actually the case. However, 4 weeks later, on August 14th, 2015, he brought an item we had all been waiting for, some of us for 49 weeks. This was the week Xur finally brought back the Gjallarhorn, which subsequently would be made useless in a few weeks' time with the launch of Taken King, but he did bring it that week. Moving forward to week 52 on September 4th, 2015, this would be the last time Xur would sell telemetries in the fashion that those of us that were playing at the time knew them. The Taken King would be changing telemetries and simplifying them. No more were the days of auto rifle telemetries, sniper telemetries, or hand cannon telemetries, and instead simply primary, special, and heavy telemetries. And the telemetries would no longer be in Xur's inventory and instead move to the gunsmith. 2 weeks later, the Taken King was here, and once again on September 18th, Xur's inventory had changed. Not only did Xur once again forget to bring a weapon, but he brought us a brand new type of engram, the Legacy Engram, allowing new players to gather exotics from year 1 and veteran players to finish their year 1 collections. This was also the first time players had seen 3 of Coins, a consumable which has been a hot topic for many players. We all know what they do now, but at the time, these were an amazing addition to the game. However, we also didn't realize how much 3 of Coins would change the game, and whether that was for better or worse differs between players. After this week, Xur was fairly consistent, and we all went about our business. For over a year, Xur didn't make mistakes or change, really. There were a few additions, such as weapon ornaments with the launch of Rise of Iron on week 108, and those weapon ornaments changing to weapon bundles on week 134. Xur did forget a weapon recently on week 152, and now we're here, week 156. With the Xur we know and either love or hate. Xur has changed a lot over the last 3 years. But that was just the history of Xur. let's look at the numbers. One thing I've always wondered is how consistent was he? How often did he bring certain gear types? Was there a balance? Did he bring helmets more often? Were there certain things that were rare? Of course the Gjallarhorn was the rarest, but I'm talking in more general terms, like helmets or chest pieces, or primaries or heavies. And if you can't tell, I've looked through every week so far since the beginning of Destiny. I wanted to know the numbers for Destiny 1, so when Destiny 2 comes along, we can make predictions about Xur. I'm going to first start off by breaking down armor by type and class. I've made a graphic and put it on screen broken down by class and armor type, and I'm going to save you guys the time and not read each number individually, as you guys can read them yourselves. But I will point out some interesting tidbits that can be taken from this. The first obvious note should be that the helmets are fairly consistent across all classes, and that they were the most common appearance, with a total of 200 times across all classes over all 156 weeks. Next are the gauntlets and chest pieces. All these, again, are fairly consistent across the board when compared to each other, in total appearing 230 times. And last, you have the boots. Now, I know it's glaring to see that one next to the Warlocks, and I'm certain if you're a Warlock main, you know exactly when this was, what those boots were, and whether or not you got them that week. But interesting enough, collectively appearing 38 times. Overall, 156 weeks. Now you may wonder why this is interesting. Well, helms and boots combined appeared 238 times, and gloves and chest pieces combined 230 times. This may seem like an odd comparison, but when you look at how many exotic helms, exotic chest pieces, exotic boots, and exotic gloves there are, they balance out. I'll save you the time, but the numbers of helmets and boots across all classes is fairly close in total amount when compared to the number of gloves and chest pieces across all classes. Bungie did well with this. So now let's talk about engrams and legacy engrams. I once again will save you the time and not discuss each number individually, and instead point out the interesting stuff. I've broken down engrams Xur brought and legacy engrams Xur brought. Before legacy engrams were implemented, Xur not only never brought boots, but also never brought a weapon engram. This may seem like an odd thing to point out until I mention the average appearance of everything was 14 times. When you look at armor engrams, both normal and legacy, these total to 115 appearances, which means on average appeared 14 times. If you do the same for legacy weapon engrams, they appear a total of 49 times, each appearing on average 16 times. So like the armor, Bungie did really well balancing the appearance of engrams in Xur's inventory. And last, let's talk about weapons Xur brought. Xur has been, for lack of a better term, an asshole when it comes to weapons, bringing the Gjallarhorn only twice and straight up forgetting to bring weapons as a few examples. But even with that, as much as we dislike what Xur brought, he still was very consistent and not biased, at least when it comes to weapon type. As you notice, I've not only shown the total amount of weapons, but also included legacy weapon engrams in the graphic, and that is with good reason. In total, both specifically weapons and legacy engram, Xur has arrived in the tower with 95 primaries in total, 54 specials in total, and 40 heavies in total. Now this may seem odd until you really look at what occurred. There are a lot more primary exotics than specials and heavies, and a keynote to make is primaries with a burn outside of Age of Triumph raid weapons are exclusively exotics, making them more common. But as I said, a total of 95 primaries have been offered to us over all 156 weeks. When compared to the total of specials and heavies, we get 94. Which is one less than the primaries he brought us. Again, like everything else, surprisingly balanced. Now you may be thinking, wait a second, 82 actual primaries, 32 specials, and 22 heavies, that's not 156, that's only 140. Earlier in the video when you discussed the history of Xur, you only mentioned a few times that Xur forgot to bring weapons. You didn't mention 16 times, and you are correct. Xur forgot to bring weapons a total of 16 times. But in my history section earlier, I only mentioned the time that they were surprising or abnormal to the community. There was a 29-week stretch where Xur was notorious for not bringing weapons, and this was accepted by the community. But I guess for completion's sake, Week 54, Week 56, Week 57, Week 59, Week 61, 62, and 63, Week 71 and 72, Week 79, and Week 82 and 83, Xur didn't bring weapons. But as I said, during this time, it was accepted that Xur was broken and weapons were sometimes just not present. Now, it should be obvious that this video took a long time to make, but this is what I promised you guys. It should go without saying, but I'd really appreciate if you shared this video around with your friends, and if you feel it's worthy, hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't. I posted a video recently stating that this will be the type of video that you will see from me. I mentioned that videos like this will be the only videos I post once Destiny 2 is here in 4 days. Crazy to think about that. If you haven't, down in the description is a link to my Twitch channel. Follow me and come hang out during streams. I'm also going to briefly mention that YouTube is broken and I lose subs every time I upload. So if you were subbed, make sure you're still subscribed. And if you are, turn on notifications so you don't miss any of my videos. As always, thank you for your continued support. But with all that said, I'm gonna get out of here. Say my name is Matt. And I'll see you guys next time. Also, if you're one of the few that watch every second of my videos all the way to the end, I thank you. If you guys wish to support me further than just watching the videos come above my streams, a link to my Patreon can be found in the description. For the few of you that are new Patreons as of the most recent video, you guys are awesome, and let me know what kind of reward tiers you want.